Hey guys, it's Chris from Smithy Finance. This is your market update for June 6th. It's about 3 p.m. So near the end of the day and end of the week. Couple things to talk about as we get into this. I guess first I should update the market. We've got Bitcoin at 104,700, which is actually up 2,500 today. We've got the markets significantly higher. We had good employment numbers this morning that the market liked. So we've got the Dow up 400, NASDAQ up 260. So also good action. We've got gold down $30, silver up 30 cents. Silver's been acting great. Copper taking a hit today, down a dime. So that's at 484. We saw it over 5 just on Wednesday. So one of the stocks that I follow and I've mentioned here frequently as my top oil stock is Saturn Oil and Gas, SOIL. Today the stock is up 11%, and the company came out with a substantial issuer bid. So I'm just going to explain what that means and if there's anything that we should be doing about it. They've announced that they're going to buy back 7 million shares at a price of $215. Or at least they're willing to buy back 7 million shares at $215. And this deal will stay in place until July. It commences on June 11th and goes till, Anyway, lasts at least a month. I can get the details for you in the next one. Now, there's 195 million shares outstanding of this stock. So purchasing 7 million is only about 4%. So it's not very much. But there will be a large population that does not tender into the issue. They mentioned one of their big holders who has about 30% or 60 million shares. They're not intending to put an offer into the issue. I would not submit my shares to the issue. I think 215 is too low a price, but good for the company for doing this. There will be people that will put the shares to the company at 215. Now, the way it works, they're only buying 7 million shares. If there's 70 million shares that are put to the offer, they're only buying 7 million, so you'll only sell 1/10 of your position or 10% of your position. So the stock will probably trade below the 215 up until the date, and then they'll take the 7 million shares out, and then the stock will probably drop a little bit before it advances further. Now, it's great for the company. They're going to reduce the float by 4%. That means earnings, if nothing changes, earnings will be up 4% per share because there's less shares outstanding. It's bullish. This is what happens when you buy a deep value stock. And I've been saying that this Saturn is undervalued, even though I hated the company for years. Although I have to give them the credit, they're doing the right thing now. But this thing, I think, does go much higher in time. And if they can shrink the share count, and they've been buying back shares almost every day, all year long from their regular purchasing account, this thing will go much higher. So that's what that is. So the stock is still a buy. I'd rather you, if you don't own any, probably hold off. Let's see if it falls back to 185, 190. There it is, a buy. And otherwise, just kind of sit tight. I must confess, I sold a couple of shares this morning at $2, but I'm loaded, and it represented less than 1% of my holdings, but I've been buying it for a while, as you know, and I just wanted to take a tiny bit off the table, take advantage of the jump. Elsewhere, Aya. So on Wednesday, yesterday, Aya had a huge day that went from 1340 to 1540 roughly. $2 closed at 1460 or 1450. And then this morning, it's down fairly strong, or today it's down another 5% at 1375. So that's crazy town on the volatility. But listen, the stock is overbought. It goes from 9 to 15.5 in about 3 weeks. That's a big move. It needs to consolidate somewhere. Yesterday was a big day on silver. It was up, just the commodity itself was up something like $1.50 and traded at $36, which is the highest in, 11 years or something. And at the same time, I came out with good drilling results. So everything is bullish on the stock. I really like it. Of course, I've been selling all the way along, including yesterday. But everything that I sold yesterday, I bought back today because it dropped, yeah, quite a bit. So I was in there taking it back, and now I'll have some small offers above, but I will hold my core, which is sizable. By the way, I'm going to stop here. Please like this, subscribe, comment. I need to get a little bit more action out there on YouTube, and your likes really help. Okay, so if you could do that, it would keep me enthusiastic to keep these going. Otherwise, if it's not getting, at least some sort of level of viewership, it's not really worth it to me. Okay, next is HIVE. I've mentioned HIVE before. They are a miner of Bitcoin. And they've also got an AI side to it, much smaller but growing. Hive itself is growing. They've been building out their exahash, I think they call it, which is just their ability to mine more and more. Stock's up 10% today. I like it quite a lot, but it is super volatile. I've sold a little bit into this rally. If it comes back, I'm adding. If it keeps going north, I might sell a little bit more. But the stock is still down 65% or something from its high this year. And I think it goes a lot higher over time, assuming we see Bitcoin, go to 120, 130, 140, and so forth. So lots of upside there. MicroStrategy, or now known as Strategy, they've come out with another preferred deal. It's called Stride, STRD. That is their, I guess they call it a junk bond issue. It's a perpetual. They're raising $1 billion. They were going to raise 250 million, but they upsized it to $1 billion. They'll be buying Bitcoin with that, of course, with very little dilution to the common shareholder. It is an 11.5% coupon, so the dividend or the interest payment is very high, and that's going to make it attractive. I expect Stride to do well and to go higher, and over time for Strategy to issue more shares at a higher price. But if Bitcoin goes up 30% a year or 40% a year, paying 11.5% is no big deal, particularly as the 11.5% is fixed and the 30% increase in Bitcoin should be cumulative. In other words, it's going up 30% a year on average or 40% a year on average. We'll see. I do believe that's likely, by the way. And I guess that's about it. Well, Trump and Elon had a big flare up yesterday that made Twitter, or X, extremely exciting. It was hard to take my eyes off it as the barbs were flowing back and forth. Market got hit on it, and it was kind of ugly. Two bros having a big, nasty fight in public. And Tesla was down 16% yesterday. I think it was up 5 or 6% last I looked. Let me just check it right now. Yep, up 5.5% right now. So look, we can never get caught up in that kind of stuff. Okay, this is, and the market sold off heavy, so somebody's selling on this information, on this spat, shall we say. I say these two guys come to some sort of a truce, and it's going to be okay. Sounds like Elon's already leaning that way. I haven't heard from Trump, but I expect there'll be some sort of a truce. And it's just good theater. I don't think it's going to make any difference at all to whether the bill passes, this big, beautiful bill. But it's it's kind of funny. I think they'll come back, at least some level of friendship at some point. But yeah, we can't get caught up in that sort of thing. Just play your individual stocks, play the chop, as I always talk about, and let's make some money and keep it going. All right, we got the weekend on the way, so have a good weekend. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.